Okay, I'm a forester, and this here is Woodshed. We'll call you Woodshed for the video.
Okay.
Now you got a birthday coming up here shortly. You'll be what, 91?
91.
Yeah.
April the 15th.
And I wanted to ask you about your experience during World War II. Now you joined the Marines right after the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, right?
Right.
That was December the 7th, 1941. How old were you then?
At that time, I was still. Oh my goodness! Look at him. Look at him.
Shia has joined the interview.
Yeah.
So how old were you when you joined the Marines?
So they were out.
Yeah.
20.
20 years old?
20 years old when I joined.
Okay. Where were you living when you joined the Marines?
At the time, I was shifting back and forth between Colombia and Denmark.
Well, was it hard to make the decision to join the Marines? How did you decide?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't hard for me to make the decision. Because I just turned everything loose.
Well, your brother went in with you, didn't he?
Yeah, Joe.
Whose idea was it, yours or his?
Ours.
Okay.
We agreed to agree.
Okay. Well, what do you remember about Parris Island? Now, you were there in colder weather, right? You joined in December.
Yeah. Went in well, I didn't get Parris Island until, you might say, January.
Yeah. You remember it being cold?
Not really, but it was a change in temperature because we were right on the river.
Tell me about your drill instructor. What do you remember about him?
Well, I remembered one thing. He said, "Keep your mouth shut."
Did you do what he said?
I did.
Well, then you stayed out of trouble, didn't you?
I stayed out of trouble. Both. I don't think Joe and myself didn't. The whole time we were in boot camp, I don't think we spoke a word to each other.
Well, you weren't in the same unit, were you?
Yeah.
Oh, you were?
Platoon 10.
Okay. How long were you at Parris Island? Do you know?
3 months. No, yeah, 3 months.
But now you stayed longer, didn't you?
I stayed longer than 3 months because when I got through with boot camp, I was assigned to a base right there on Parris Island, and so was my brother.
Working in supply, I believe. Supply?
Man, I was shifted from one to the other. They didn't know what to do with me.
Yeah. Well, what did you after Parris Island? You went to Camp Pendleton, didn't you, out in California?
Yeah, I left Parris Island and took a train to California.
You remember how long you were out there? I believe your wife came out and joined you, didn't she?
She followed me out there a couple of days later.
Okay. So you weren't out there alone?
No, I wasn't out there alone.
Well, after Camp Pendleton, I remember you said they shipped you off and you went as far as Hawaii and stopped for training. Do you remember why they took you to Hawaii?
Well, there was a training base out there. Because they just had an empty section of a Marine Corps base out there. It was empty, and they just put us right up in it.
Well, you didn't know where you were headed at the time, but you told me that they trained you on a mountain or a volcano that was similar to where you were headed. But you were going to eventually go to Iwo Jima.
Well, I didn't know anything about Iwo Jima at all until I got there.
How long were you at sea after you left Hawaii?
When we left Hawaii, we were zigzagging across the Pacific, just back and forth.
Did you have any idea where you were headed?
I didn't know where we were going at that time.
Well, how did they tell you? When did you find out?
I think when we got there, because we were right up against the shoreline on Iwo Jima, and you might say there was a cliff between where the rifle fire was coming from. It was a cliff there. The ship that I was on, in fact, I don't even remember what the ship name was, but anyhow, it was pointed right toward Suribachi, and so we went off the port side of the ship and went around the front of it and cut into a sandy beach. There was a sandy beach there, and as soon as you hit it, you bogged down. That's where I got out. Now I got the book. It shows where we landed.
I've seen it. It was it had a map, showed exactly where you were deployed. How did you feel when you saw the U.S. flag being raised on Mount Suribachi?
I just thought that we've won it. We've won it.
I guess that was a relief.
It was.
Did everybody cheer?
Huh?
Did everybody cheer?
Oh yeah. I think everybody quit firing the rifle and everything else.
Yeah. What unit were you with?
27th Marines.
And I've looked on a map to see where y'all were deployed. I think that unit went ashore near Mount Suribachi, but then angled off and went to the airport, toward the airport, to capture that. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah. Yeah, we were. In fact, when we got off the ship, we had to go around.
I say airport. It was just a landing strip, wasn't it?
It was just a landing strip at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. In fact, I didn't know where we were going, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. You just did what you were told.
I did just what I was told.
Well, now, I've seen some souvenirs that you brought back. You had some belly flags.
Some who?
Belly flags that you took off of the battlefield.
Oh, yeah, I still got those.
I've seen two of them.
Yeah.
You had some swords. Did those swords, one was an officer's sword,
Yeah,
did those come off?
One was an officer's sword.
Did those come off the battlefield?
As far as I know, they did.
What about the rifles? You had 2 or 3 rifles that you displayed in your house. I think Fred has those now. Where did they come from?
I don't know. I'd have to see those rifles, because I didn't know Fred had them.
Okay. Okay. How long do you think you were on Iwo Jima? After the battle was over, I remember you talking about the U.S. pilots flying over and landing on the landing strip, so you must have been there a pretty good while.
No, we weren't there very long.
Well, now, after you left Iwo Jima, didn't you go to Japan? I'm not sure about that.
No, we went back to the Hawaiian Islands, turned around and came back and went into Japan.
And now you were there for a pretty good while, I think, weren't you?
Yeah, I don't remember how long though.
Well, now, when you came back after World War II was over, where did you come back to? Camp Pendleton?
I think it's Camp Pendleton.
Anybody give you a parade?
No. They didn't even know who we were, I don't think.
Well, did you get a parade when you came home?
No. You didn't get nothing.
Nobody bothered to say thank you.
Nobody said thank you.
Well, y'all did a big sacrifice for little thanks then.
Yeah.
Well, we'll say thank you now.
Okay. Thank you.
Signing out.